All right, folks. Hey, welcome back to Unofficially Opinionated. This is the podcast where we talk about all kind of stuff with our unofficial opinions. I'm Christian, as usual, joined by Steve, Tim, and Nate. What's up, guys?
Yo, what's up?
Hey,
Welcome back. We had a little
Hey,
hiatus,
Yep.
took some time off with holidays and family and other stuff. So
Mhm.
now we are
And
back.
Christmas.
It's January. Now we're recording at the beginning of January. You may hear this a little bit later or see it a
Yeah.
little bit later, but yeah. So how was the time off? What you guys been doing?
eating
Yeah,
too
what
much
y'all doing?
food. I ate too much
Right.
food. That's what I did.
No such thing.
I know the feeling between Thanksgiving and Christmas. My goodness.
Yeah, here's the test. I think that if you eat to the place where you can't keep your eyes open, that's a
Got the
dead
itis.
giveaway. That's a dead
Yeah,
giveaway.
that's a good meal. That's a good
That
meal.
yeah.
right.
Well, you know what? That kind of happens to me even if I don't eat a lot. I guess they say that it happens because like I don't know, the blood is rushing from your head to your stomach or something like that. I
You
don't
just
know
gotta
how much of that
digest.
is true, but say that again.
That
You gotta
eating
digest the food, so it's moving down there to
coma.
work on that, and
Yeah,
then
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
else is
exactly. So
food
I don't
coma.
know,
secondary.
but my goodness, I didn't eat that much actually. Probably because I was the one that had to make it. So I didn't. Yeah, I didn't eat that much, but whatever.
Yeah. You
That's
guys
good
do
to
any
know.
traveling?
Yes. I went to Nantes. I don't know if y'all saw the reel that I posted in on Instagram, but it was I went there to because I was just like because I for Christmas I had finished working two jobs, so now I'm just working currently one job, and I was just like I got to get out of this area that I'm in. I was like I got to go. I got to relax my mind. So Liam and I we went to Nantes, which is a city that we moved to when we first left Switzerland, and it is very mild. Like the weather is very mild. So it was not very cold there. It was cold, but not very cold. So yeah, and we visited the Christmas markets there and I took videos of it. It was really nice. Plus, y'all, I saw this oh, looks like we lost Steve.
Oh, Tim,
um
he'll be back.
I'm still here.
you're still there. Oh, okay. Um I was what was I saying? Um
You said it was not so cold outside
It
one
was not
day.
so cold, but it was what was I gonna say? It was oh no, I saw these jackets. I saw these jackets in this store called Isaac, or I don't know, Isaac, I think maybe. Um $300 a piece, right? Like one was
Oh, that's all.
two. That's it.
Not bad.
But I wanted them. One is like out of like lamb's wool, and the other one was out of I don't remember what the other one was. I posted it. I was like, anybody who wants to buy me them, feel free. They're like beige white. Oh, it was beautiful. It was gorgeous. Anyways, and so it was not. So yeah, that's what I did.
Very cool. Very cool. I did a little bit of travel. We went out to Seattle area for Thanksgiving. Thankfully, no hiccups there. I was a little bit nervous, just knowing how airlines have been of late with delays and issues. So, and I was actually traveling. So that week, I was actually in Northern Ohio for work, and so I had to go to Detroit and fly from there to Seattle and meet my family there, and then go to my parents' place. So that could have been kind of a disastrous situation if I was stuck in Detroit or something, and they're over there, and so. But it worked out. It worked out well. So we went out there. I ended up making the mac and cheese. Speaking of cooking, I don't usually cook very often, but I was assigned the mac and cheese. I think it went pretty well. But my brother, he bought mild cheddar instead of sharp cheddar, so it wasn't quite what I was looking for, but it worked out. They ate it. They seemed to like it, so it worked out.
Like because they don't have mild cheddar here, so I can't remember the difference in taste. They just have like old cheddar and like older cheddar.
That's probably what it would be like. I think older would be sharper, I believe. So
Okay.
yeah, a
Okay.
little more of a bite, not quite as mellow.
Yeah, because people like here, I feel like people need to understand like they don't know what macaroni and cheese is here really. Yeah,
Oh
like I had
man.
to introduce. Yeah, I had to introduce them to what macaroni and cheese is. And pumpkin pie. They didn't know what pumpkin pie was.
Serious?
Did I tell you that? They didn't know what pumpkin pie was. Like I was literally, I was like, they have pumpkins here, but every time I told them pumpkin pie, they were like, "Oh, is it savory?" I was like, "What? No, sweet."
Wait, so you're saying that all the Americans that's been there and they have no idea what pumpkin pie is?
They had no idea what pumpkin pie was. We went to this bakery just the other day, and she had made this soup out of pumpkin and some other thing that looked like pumpkin plus another or something. And I was like, "Hey, have you ever tried making pumpkin pie?" And she was like, "Oh, is it savory?" And I was like, "No, it's sweet." And she was like, "Oh, wait, yeah." She had gone to America and one of her friends had made it for her or something like that. She was like, "Yeah, what do you put in it?" And I told her, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna try that or whatever." So like, no.
I can
Yeah.
imagine
Especially
that.
around where I'm living, like I'm in Normandy, where the D-Day beaches are and stuff like that. Like we get a lot of Americans here, so I don't know. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I know quite a few people that really do not even like pumpkin pie. Americans, they're like, it's always sweet potato. So it could just, maybe in our circles, it's a little more popular than the broad, you know, uh,
I mean,
American culture. I'm not sure.
yeah, I mean, but to like say I don't like pumpkin pie, but then just to never have heard of it. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm here in the States and that sounds absurd to me. Like to me, everybody's gonna be like, either I like it or I don't, but I've never heard, I don't know what it is. So,
I mean, if you think about it, it is some of an odd thing, right? Like stepping back, like thinking about like why are we taking these pumpkins? It's basically a squash, and we're
mm,
gonna make it into a pie
yeah.
that's sweet.
It's
I
a
think
fruit pie. It's considered fruit.
Pumpkins,
it
is a pumpkin a fruit? I
what a
thought it was a
pumpkin is.
vegetable.
I think it has seeds. I
Yeah, oh
think it's
yeah, you're
considered a
right.
fruit.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if we're being technical, right?
It's a
Like
fruit
Okay.
pie.
squashes.
Now, sweet potato, now that would be the odd one out because I've
Yeah.
never had a potato pie.
I mean, like a
But
shepherd's
sweet
pie is
potato
kind of a
is
potato
sweet.
pie.
Like, say that again.
A shepherd's pie is kind of a potato pie with other stuff in it, but
Yeah, I
I don't
guess.
know what a shepherd's pie is.
I guess. That's why I was like, I'll take your
See,
word for it.
another example.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, or pumpkin. All right. What do you call that? I hate these pies too. What do they call pot pies? Oh, that has potato in it, but it's not sweet.
Yeah. I
All the
Anyways,
foods we
when I was
hate.
little, I used to call those
yeah.
breaded food. I never called them a pie because,
Breaded food? No,
yeah,
you did
yes,
not,
I
Tim.
did.
That's a lie.
I'm not lying. I call it breaded
You
food.
did not call it breaded
I
food.
did
There's no
because I
way
did
you
not
said
like pot
that.
pies because there was nothing in them
Oh,
sweet. To me,
join
a pie
right,
is a
right. Thank
strawberry
you. Like that
pie.
is a
That's it.
misnomer,
Yeah,
right?
it's nothing in there sweet.
It is not a
Yeah,
pie.
it was
And the
just
worst
breaded
part
food.
about it is that when you make that, it like excuse me, it is like 20 times hotter on the inside of that
That is
pie
quite dangerous. It is very dangerous. I burn my
than the
mouth every
outside. Like
time.
it's absolutely ridiculous. I can't deal.
Always.
Let's see
Because
here.
pie is about crust, not about savory or sweet. So get over yourselves.
It's true.
No, no, you're wrong.
I'm
If
loving
someone says,
that.
"Hey, you want some pie," and you're like, you're getting your taste buds getting ready for some kind of pie, and they brought out a pot, no, you're not gonna. You're gonna be like, "That's not exactly what I expected." No.
Look, I can debate all day. We can get into bread and sweet and savory, but you know what? I'm gonna cut it short because I know
Yep.
myself. We'll be here for 3 more hours
Right.
Yep.
debating whether
Pot
bread
pie.
should be sweet or savory. Is banana bread a bread or is it a cake? But I won't go there. Biscuits versus breads versus
Oh my
scones.
goodness.
Anyway. All right, so I guess we did some travel. We did some eating. Anything else, guys, get into that was interesting over the break, over the time off that we had?
Uh, Eating and traveling. That's about it. I went to Portland.
Where did you go?
I went to Portland. If you call
Oh,
that traveling.
okay. No,
Nate was so
no,
surprised. He's like,
No.
"Where'd you go?" You went somewhere?
Nah, going to Portland.
Going to Portland
No,
is
man,
not
people
You
do
traveling.
that in the
you drove 2
weekend,
hours down the street.
right?
I guess going from one state to another state, not
Hey,
traveling.
I mean, it is technically
That's
travel,
true. It's
just
true.
like
You are going to
pumpkin
another
pie,
state.
and it's a
you, got,
callback.
you
It's a
guys are
callback.
cruel.
My excuse me, my dad went down to Portland too. He was like, this is my vacation. And I was like, that ain't a vacation. I was like, you got family in Portland. Like,
Hey,
I'm gonna tell you when I first finished college and I had like my first weekend, like I went somewhere, I went to Portland for like a long weekend. That was like what I did. Like, oh, I'm free. I'm out of college. I'm working. Got my own money. Let me go get a hotel room in Portland for the weekend and hang out and do the Rose Garden. So, you know,
unfortunately,
I have never been to
Portland is
Portland.
boring.
I've never been.
I mean, Portland is as boring as like the Northwest is boring. So,
It's boring.
Right. Just saying.
We'll stop the conversation there.
If you think Portland is boring, I got news for you.
Portland has
news.
like that biggest mall. Is that what it is, or something like that?
I know that there's a huge bookstore my dad always goes to, Powell's.
And
I'm
Okay,
not sure
I
what
don't
else
know
is
about
over
that.
there. All right. Well, any new shows you guys are watching? Any games you guys are playing? Any books you guys are reading that's new?
Yeah. The what? My
Yep.
goodness. Yep. That one right there.
Legit. I like it. I like it.
Nah, because I started my reaction videos. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you about the story. Okay, let me tell you. So the reaction video. So I made one reaction video just to see how it would work, right? I edited everything, whatever. Submitted it to YouTube. So YouTube has this thing where they submit it to, because if it has like copyrighted stuff, like they submit it to the owners, and they ask them if they want to dispute it, right? So it was a Netflix show called the English pronunciation is Elite, but it's a Spanish. It is a Spanish production, so I think it's probably Elite or something to that effect. And it has LGBT content in it, which is the reason why I recorded it and or did the reaction to it. And it took 30 days for them, almost 30 days for them to like. But what I really think they did was they're just like, because they've had so many people do reactions to this or whatever, they just let it go because it's not like on the top of their priorities or something like that. Reaction, you're cutting the video up and then doing reactions to it, so you're not going to see like the video, the show is 60 minutes long and my reaction video is like 10 minutes long, right? So
Right.
it's not the same thing, but I think they just let it go that long just because they're like, this is just a react. Like it's I feel like that's how I don't know if that's the case, but I feel like that's like it wasn't their high priority. So anyways, I put it out there finally if y'all want to go check it out. I thought it was pretty cool, but I feel like I was a little maybe dry maybe, so I'm gonna try to spice that up a little bit.
Ooh, spicy.
And I also wanted to do, because I got an ice cream maker for my birthday. Yes, for my birthday. An electric ice cream maker, because I've been telling people I want that. I've been telling Liam I wanted that for 3 years. I was like, I want an electric ice cream maker. Not one of those that you like freeze the that you freeze the bowl and then you put. No, I didn't want that. I was
Right.
like, I want it to freeze while it's mixing. So
Lazy
he
cream.
finally got me one. Say it again.
Lazy cream, man. I got that.
Yeah. No, because like when the ones that so I haven't had
Lazy is going to
experience.
buy ice cream. That's
No.
Lazy's trying to make it.
Yeah, right. No,
Correct.
but like I had to excuse me, like if you cook the mix before, heat the mix before, you pour it into this bowl, and sometimes it'll melt the ice that's in the bowl, right? So it doesn't actually turn into ice cream. I've had that problem before, so I was just like, no, I want an electric one that is going to sense, the heat and then compensate with the cold. So that's what it does. It freezes it instantly. So I got it for my birthday finally. So I made caramel. I tried to make salted caramel ice cream.
Oh
It tastes
boy.
like it tastes more like salted toffee.
I mean,
So
I
that's
mean,
not too bad.
yeah, I'm about to
it's
say it's all in the try there.
It could have been worse.
Right.
I
it
was
could have
like,
been
here we
worse.
go.
Right?
Salt
What,
lick.
what did he make? It tastes
So,
like salt.
so
Yeah.
right.
That's what I thought you were gonna say.
Frozen salt lick.
Yeah, but like I didn't do that. So I didn't do that well. So, but I wanted to record videos on me doing that with showing the recipe that I use. So I think I might do that.
Sweet,
Yeah.
sweet. How about Steve? You and Tim, you guys get any fun Christmas gifts? You guys do Christmas gifts, or are you guys too old for that?
Oh yeah. Did you all do Christmas gift? No. It was
No
like I'm
gifts.
too mature.
It's
No
not about
gifts.
maturity. I think it's just you give gifts till a point where you can't. There's nothing a person wants anymore. You give gift cards. That's what you give, or give cash.
Did
You,
you
you
get
and your wife
cash?
don't exchange things, Steve.
Uh, no, no.
He said,
Okay.
nah.
Okay. Do you plan trips for the holidays? If I may ask.
So we did visit the in-laws, and
Okay.
I mean, it's just like Tim, it's not really going far, so
Oh,
that's not travel. But yeah, it's
Oh
I didn't really
man.
do anything. The point is to rest. So I'm sorry, Tim.
this is true. Like you seem to be everywhere, Steve. So like you do need some rest. You seem to
no.
be just doing stuff, like getting it. So
Yeah, I didn't get as much rest as I normally get. I was telling someone that usually what I do is I leave work on Christmas Eve and I come back like after New Year's. I've been doing that like probably, I don't know, the past 10, 15 years or so, it feels like.
yeah,
And this year I didn't have enough PTO because I switched jobs midway through the year.
yeah.
So I had to work during that week and it was
Oh,
just so weird and sad.
it is sad.
Because
Yeah,
normally what I do is like, I'll be home for a while, so I may spend time with the family for like a couple days straight, just like hanging with them. Then I have like a day where I'm just like, I come up here and I'm locked in my room and I'm playing games or watching whatever I want to watch, or just just being by myself for like a long extended period of time.
yeah.
And then I'm kind of starting to get ramped up, ready back for work. But not having those days, I feel a little bereft. But we'll get over it. We'll get
Yeah.
past it.
Right.
next year will be better.
Next year, I'm gonna save up those days, so we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. All right. Well, some of you guys had at least a restful, fun time with some travel, some almost travel, some things we'll call travel.
Partial travel,
The hate is real, man.
attempted travel.
Right. So, do you guys have any? I don't know if do you guys do resolutions, or you guys have any kind of plans or goals or like themes for the coming year?
Do we have anything to fail on? No.
Yes,
I
Tim.
did not say that.
All normal people do this.
Right?
No.
You can only fail if you try.
I don't set myself up for failure. I have things that I already know I'm going toward, but it's not like a resolution. I never agree with New Year's resolutions. It's like, look, okay, if your New Year's resolution is the same thing every year, then you need to stop doing that and go try to do something else.
No.
'Cause-
No. That's the objective. Like if it's always the same thing, it just means you're getting closer to reaching that goal. Like, I mean, that's what I choose to believe.
Stubbornness. That's what that is.
So Tim, you said there are things that you're going to do anyway. Anything you wanted to share that any plans you have or things you're looking to accomplish that maybe aren't resolutions, but
Oh, just I mean the typical things. Raising my children correctly and playing video games. That's it.
And
all
play-
right.
Did you get any new games for Christmas?
Man, my family.
No?
No support.
They don't support.
Did you get yourself?
They don't
anything for
support my
Christmas? I
habit.
mean, you're grown. If they don't get it for you, get it for yourself.
Because
No,
literally I downloaded Elden Ring. I thought I had purchased it. Then when I found out that I didn't buy it, I was like, oh, good. And then I was like, I shouldn't buy this. It was on
I know.
sale. It was on sale. And I was like, I shouldn't buy this. So I didn't buy it. And then Chris was like, I bought it because I was on
I
sale.
know.
And I was
It
like,
got
damn
me.
it.
Like it was on sale for what, like 20 days or
Yep.
something, right? And every day I
Yeah.
was like, I'm not gonna do it. And then the
Yep.
last, it was like 5 hours left. I was like,
Oh,
and I was up late. It was like 1 a.m. You're not thinking straight
yeah, you
that
ain't.
late.
Nope.
That's how they get you. I was like,
Yep.
oh, this is a great. Let me just get this. I was like, a click, and then just download, and it's so easy these days. You don't got to go anywhere. You just
yeah,
click the
Yeah.
button.
Yeah,
sitting
it's
on the
true.
couch in your
Did you get it
slippers.
on Steam?
No, I got it on the Xbox. Yeah, my Steam. You know my computer. I can't. There's there's just
Is
no
because I
way.
wasn't sure if Steam was on Xbox. Actually, I probably should have researched that.
Nate, did you just say it's Steam on Xbox?
Yes, he
Yeah,
said
because
that.
Xbox is like very computer. It's a
Nate,
computer. That's what it
can't.
is.
I can't.
It has
I can't even deal with this right now.
competition.
Wait, is it cross-platform? Because an Elden Ring, you can
I know you can have like people join you for
yeah.
like boss battle. I'm not sure. I didn't check that, so we'll
Mm.
have to see.
Oh,
But yeah,
look, well, chop that
all
up to
right.
me not knowing.
I will. I'll berate you later after we record this. Not to waste our time. All right, Steve. Any goals or plans or resolutions for the year?
Well, I always tell my team to if we start strong, we can end strong. So I try to just
Okay.
encourage for us to kind of think what does that mean? I think that means to not put off the things that you need to do. So like obviously like what Tim was saying, uh, I don't know if I like the thought of doing something over and over if and expecting the results to change per se, but I definitely think that, especially if you keep failing, but I think that you shouldn't give up on things that are really important. And so that's your opportunity to start strong is to put that thing in the right place priority wise. And so obviously, connecting with the folks that you need to, connect with or do some of the things, some of the tasks that you've been putting off to kind of get that done early so that you can start the year strong. So I say that to my team, and I think about that myself. So I'm not sure if you can fail in that per se, but unless you just don't do it at all. But I do keep that in mind.
Does your team? How does your team respond to that?
They're like,
Do
yeah,
they say
sounds
BS,
no,
or do they be like, "Nah"?
Like, yeah,
no. I
sure.
think I think it sounds good. What are you going to argue about? What do you want to
Right?
start the
Yeah.
year weak?
Yeah. Like,
You want to just give up right at the beginning of the
they're
year?
like, start strong. That's
Mm-mm.
whack.
Look, if you ain't got no expectation,
No, I expect. No, I
All
have some
right.
expectations. Yes.
all right.
Yeah, man. How about you, Nate?
I got no, I'm just really working on my mental. I'm doing mental work, like working on
Mental
my
work. I got you.
yeah.
I
So
got you.
because I already got the job that I have been wanting for the past like 5 years, and it's progressing actually pretty rapidly, to be honest, which makes me wonder like what's happening later. But I found out that I fell into this group that is just starting off. And I was like, that is exactly. I thought it was like a well established thing. And they're like, no, we just starting off and we need to get the ball rolling. And I'm like, I'm your man.
Yeah.
So I already got that going. I'm just working on um ment working on the because I was telling Liam this morning, and I said I was half sleep half awake last night, and I just kept thinking to myself, humans spend so much time attacking other humans rather than and that's like 90% of the fun that they have online, it's like making memes of other people, attacking them and stuff like that. And I was like, when they actually could be, I feel like the brain is much more powerful than we actually use it for. I'm just like, they could be like, literally could be living in the Jetsons or something, Back to the Future or something like that. But we're just so focused on being mean to each other. You know, like it's kind of weird. Like that's what we use our brain power for. You know, tearing other people down. So I'm working on figuring out how much my brain can do, and I'm convinced it can do a lot more than I currently can. So
I like it. I like it.
yeah,
Yeah, I think similarly, you're speaking about how you kind of got the job you wanted. Last year I didn't have like a solid like plan and resolution, but I had kind of a salary target in my mind,
hmm.
and I had kind of a role I wanted to be in my mind by the end of last year.
Yeah,
And those things did happen. So, I was like, oh, like I really did it because,
yeah,
I didn't do a whole lot of things differently, but I guess I was just kind of open to seeing um opportunities and kind of taking them and kind of in some ways kind of just being different in certain conversations, right?
yeah,
When something came
yeah,
up for a promotion, like I was like, well, like I've been talking about this to you for the last few months, I can
yeah,
do it, so, and that kind of
yeah.
led to other things. So,
Hmm.
that was last year. This coming year, I'm really just, we talk about this as a family, I'm looking at just being more intentional about everything and
Yeah,
just kind of living more on purpose. So I don't
yeah,
have any specific goals, but it's more just about living on purpose. And one thing, I had a very silly example, but I was like, very often I'll come home from work and I'll be on my phone and I'll play some dumb like click game or something on my phone for like 3 or 4 hours, sit on the couch,
yeah.
something's on TV, and I'm
Hmm.
playing some stupid game for 4 hours, right? Then I
Hmm.
go to bed, right? Um, I mean, I pass the time, but
Yeah,
that's not really enjoyable. Like of late, like again, Elden Ring. Like I started playing this Final Fantasy game, Crisis Core.
yeah.
Like I'm playing an actual game, like focused on that game for a few hours in the
Hmm.
evening, and it's so different, right? Like okay, I'm playing 2 hours, but I'm playing this game, not also on my phone, not also watching something, but
Yeah,
I'm intentionally enjoying this game for these
yep,
2 hours and something that stimulates my mind versus
yeah,
just zoning out on my phone and doing stuff for a few hours. So that's a
yep,
simple example, but like I'm trying to do more of that just at work and with spending time with family and just, not just waking up and just living and then doing it again the next day, but
yep.
really trying to
More
do
like
more stuff on purpose. So
being in the
I
moment,
really like. Yeah. What'd you say? Living in the moment. You
like
said.
being in the moment instead of just. I've been in that mindset too, so I can understand that.
Like I do really. I agree, and actually, it's funny because that you say that because I had this. Like I had decided this previous year um, that I wasn't just going to be letting it happen. Like I was like, I'm going to direct this as much as I can. I'm going to intentionally make these decisions and do these things, and it worked. I mean, yeah, because yeah, you can. This is also why I stopped watching TV because I felt like I was just passing so much time letting my brain not do anything, and my brain just really has to be doing stuff, you know. So I totally understand that. That's nice. Cool.
cool, cool, cool. Well, on to our topic du jour today.
Yes. Ooh, look at
So,
him bringing out the French.
hey, 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 I know, I know, un poquito French.
Not French, but
Wait a
okay.
minute, wait a minute, what? Is that not French?
We'll go with that.
Right. Well, we're in the new year. When this comes out, it'll be probably not February, but close to February, which in the US is Black History Month. Do do
Woo-hoo.
do do do
Whoop,
do
whoop.
do.
Yeah,
So, in that vein, we're gonna try to have a few things, to kind of, celebrate the month, bring us some education. And in that vein, Nate brought a topic to us about a woman named Claudette Colvin,
Yeah, yeah.
um, who did some things that might sound similar to someone else we might know named Rosa Parks. So, Nate, first of all, I guess I'm curious, you know, how did you hear about Claudette Colvin? Because I actually hadn't really heard about her before.
Yeah,
I'm not big on history, but
me
how'd you
neither.
hear about her, and what kind of made it interesting to you to even talk about this?
Yeah, no, I'm not big on history either, and I didn't know about her either. So look, we're all in the same boat. Wait, did you all hear about her? Did you all know? No, that don't tell. Yeah, see, no.
Shaking heads
So,
everywhere.
yeah, right. So like I heard about it because this job that I have is accountability and change management. So that's my position, or that's the team that I'm in, right? And or sorry, adaptability. Who am I talking about? Adaptability and change management. And the manager of the team in Paris, she did a she did a 5 episode, like 5 step episode to change management in the business. And then in like her third episode, which is only available it's an internal document, right? Excuse me. But she brought up the sorry, just a minute. Yeah. Okay, good. She brought up she started talking about the civil rights movement in America, and she linked that to change management, right? And so like her first question on this video was, do you know this person who was this it was a woman during the civil, or like in America, who refused to, she was black and she refused to give up her seat to a white person. And she was like, I hope you don't know, but because otherwise it would ruin the surprise. She was like, but I'm thinking that most of you guys are going to say Rosa Parks. And I was like, yes, because that's what I said.
Duh.
And she was like, it wasn't. It was Claudette Colvin. And I was like, ooh, learned it by a French person. So yeah, that's how I found out about it. Or her, sorry, but the whole situation.
So I didn't know about her.
Okay.
Tim, you didn't
Question.
know.
I
Yeah,
got a
Steve.
question.
You got
I'm
an answer.
always. I feel like I'm the odd one out here. I- is Claudette the first?
Well,
Right.
we don't know if she was the first. Like,
So
there's
right, so
always.
yeah, I
Okay.
mean,
Okay.
I
She's
guess
just
that
one.
that's yeah. So that's probably part of the discussion today, right? Is for first of all, what did Claudette Colvin do, Nate?
Yeah, so apparently she did basically the same thing that Rosa Parks did, or that Rosa Parks is known for, which is she sat down on the bus. I think it was a bus, yeah. And back then, like the black people were supposed to sit in the back of the bus. And then if there were no more seats for the white people, if black people had a seat, the black people would have to stand up and give the seat to the white person. Something similar to what you would do for an elderly person, but this was like highly racist, not ageist. So that's what, and she refused to do it. There's stories about, well, like exactly what happened, but it's a very similar story to what we know as Rosa Parks. I think Rosa Parks is younger than her, or was younger than her, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, Claudette, when this happened, it says she was 15,
Yeah.
which
Sorry,
ended up
I
her
don't
seat.
know what their age difference is what I'm saying. But
I see. I see.
yeah,
I see.
yeah. Anyways, yeah. So that's what happened. That's basically the same thing that happened with Rosa Parks. It happened with her, but this happened before Rosa Parks. The situation with Rosa Parks, basically. Is that what you was asking?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it looked like it happened about 9 months before
Yeah.
Rosa Parks. So why do you guys think we didn't know about Claudette Colvin?
Yeah. Like, why aren't we taught about it?
Oh, I can
Like,
tell you
none of
why.
y'all knew. None of y'all knew. And most black people that I have talked to since I figured it out didn't know. So why do y'all think that is?
I
I
have an
think it
idea.
probably had more so to do with media in the repercussions of what happened afterward. Like I said earlier, I questioned, she the first? I don't know if I remember people saying she's the first, but I think that what she did led to a boycott. And the people that this happened to before that, it may have not led to anything. It may have led to them being arrested and then they got out and then that was the end of it.
Right.
So I think the significance, in my impression, is that it's what happened after she did this that makes this something worth being memorable, or why we may have heard about it.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of it's just about focus. But to your point, we're calling this, the first Rosa Parks, right? In quotes, but really what we're saying is it's just someone before Rosa Parks. And I think, in American culture, even though I think we would all agree, obviously Rosa Parks wasn't the first one. I think she's portrayed as that, right? Like
Right.
the mythology of the story is, oh, she the first person to refuse to do it. You know what I mean? And whereas, I can't imagine she's the only person that ever refused to get up
Right.
to give her,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like it just sometimes things happen and things converge, right? To your point, Steve, media comes in, they happen to pick up this particular one in that particular area while other things are also happening. And then, it goes to court, they have to pick up that particular case, and then it kind of becomes a thing, right? Whereas other times it just simply didn't happen maybe at the exact right time or get the right audience to listen. I mean, you think about things that happen, you know, even here in Baltimore. How much you guys knew about Freddie Gray here, but he was in the back of a police van and died
Wait.
back there
Yeah.
mysteriously.
Um, when?
This was a few years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say recently because
Yeah.
I
Recently.
was like, okay, no, I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know about that.
Yeah, it was recently, and then the day of the verdict, there was just a lot of chaos here, riding in the streets.
Yeah.
And someone may ask, well, you're like, why this one? When we know for a fact he's not the first black man to die in police custody, right?
Right? Yeah.
Like, and then the people get to
That's
go
a
away
going
free,
thing.
right? Like, why you guys get so mad about this one, right? And I don't think it's necessarily about, oh, like this one is specifically significant. I think it's just sometimes the environment of a culture that, enough things have happened that sometimes it's going to just be kind of that last little pebble, right? It's just
Hmm.
you've been putting pebbles on, and it's an irritant, but then that last pebble like tips the scale, right? And then something happens, and it's known, and it's kind of has a more broad, I guess, appeal.
Is that what you believe, Tim? Because you were saying something, but the
For those of you that can't see, Tim is now laughing. He'll be back shortly.
No, what I was gonna say was that I can't for some reason I can't remember the name of it right now. It's escaping me. But I thought Rosa Parks was a part of an organization, uh,
NAACP.
NAACP. Thank you. And so that
Hmm.
brought the media, and then it goes into everything you guys were saying. That's why how the media likes to say, "Oh, the first," because everything has to
Yeah.
be the first to make it exciting.
Now, was she when she didn't get up, or was
Well,
that
that's.
after?
I don't even know if that really matters. Well, okay,
It
so let
does
me tell
matter where
y'all
she was.
what the going theory is. The going theory. I'm not saying it's true or not. I'm just saying what everyone's going by. So my the manager of the team that I'm in, her name is Safia, by the way, in Insight. She was explaining, so I just went and did some research after it. But um, the explanation is that Claudette had gotten pregnant, right? So I'm sorry, she was. So when she refused to give up her seat, she was pregnant with a married man's child, right? So because they were already, I guess the NAACP, speaking of, again, this is just a going theory. I'm not saying it's true or not. But the NAACP was looking to apparently help push the civil rights, and they they did approach Claudette for sponsorship, right? But when they found out that she was pregnant with a married man's child, they were like, "Well, this is going to make us look bad." Um, publicly. So the the idea was that they helped her anyway. They helped her with her child and stuff like that. But they kind of made the situation hush hush, because they didn't want this to be kind of the picture, I guess, of what they were going for. So that's the idea. So when they found the Rosa Parks, who didn't have all of this baggage or whatever, they were they they I don't know if they ever said she was the first one. I don't think that they ever said that, but they might have. But I don't recall them saying that she was the first one. But she was the one that they picked, the whole movement picked as a representative, as a sponsor for, yeah. And again, the idea is Martin Luther King wasn't the first, but this is also something that is questionable for me too, because they were like, okay, so Claudette had a married man's child, but we all know what happened with Martin Luther King. Like, we all know Martin Luther King had some illegitimate children, right? So, like, why was there? Why did they choose Martin Luther King? Yeah, he was eloquent and stuff, but he still had this baggage as well. I don't know if he had it at the time, but it seems, according to reports, he did have this baggage
I
at the
mean, part of
time.
it is just because he's a man, right? Like that. That's gonna be like just if you know how the media is gonna attack this unwed young
Yeah.
black woman, like it was just gonna be a circus, right? Even if it wasn't about, oh, we don't think she's a good representative, it could have just been, hey, look, like this is just gonna be a circus distraction. They're just gonna tear her down in the media, and we also won't get anywhere. You
Uh,
know,
Another
go
thing
ahead, Tim.
could be the fact that, I mean, if she was pregnant, she was 15. Let's not forget that 19 was it 55. She was 15 and pregnant with a married person's child. So she was a minor.
Yeah.
If they would have brought her to the media, it would have just destroyed her. It would have destroyed that person she had got pregnant by for impregnating a minor. So let's
I
not.
think somewhat. I mean, I think back then 15 isn't like
Yeah. I
how
don't think.
15 is now.
Yeah, I don't think it was
You know,
that.
like I
It,
I think it was still not like, oh, this is a joyous great thing, but I don't think 15 pregnant back then
15 and
is the same
married
as 15
and
pregnant
pregnant
now.
wasn't an issue, I bet. But 15 and not married is a totally different thing.
I think so too. I think 15 by a married man, I think that sounds real suspicious
Right.
to me. It sounds suspicious.
I don't know. Let me see. Let me see if I can find this. What is the
Age of
legal?
consent in
Yeah,
Alabama
age
in
of consent in
1955.
Alabama.
Good luck. Good
Wait,
luck.
I'm just gonna look for the age of consent in Alabama first of all. So it's actually already only 16, right
Now,
now currently. So we don't know. Let me see. In 19, let me type it in
yeah, and I'm
1955.
I'm not saying again it wasn't an issue because she's 15. I'm just saying I think it was less an issue then than it would be now.
Yeah, I
And I wonder who
I
that
really
guy
feel like
was.
I think they did. They know I did. I can't remember if they had stated
A
or
teacher.
See, this is exactly why they didn't take up the case. We're asking who the guy was. Who cares who it
yeah.
was? Like this
I
had
know it
nothing to
did.
do with any of this, right?
That's true.
like,
No, no, no. Okay, so right
like
here,
it's
let me
not even
explain myself.
about this.
When I say that, what I'm asking about the guy, I'm saying because it's about the whole overarching situation. I'm not asking about like he's the most important person in this situation. I'm saying like the whole overarching issue. She's 15, and keep in mind, we don't know where in her year of 15 she was at. She could have gotten pregnant 14, right before she turned 15. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah,
so we don't know where in this arc of 15 she was at. I'm just saying the situation just like it just looks sketchy. Like Chris, I mean,
yeah,
like Steve said, looks sketchy all the way
yeah,
through.
yeah, yeah. I think it just goes to all this conversation to the point of it would have been a distraction to the goal
Right.
of championing this person to advance civil rights, right? Like all this other stuff is just going to be in the way, right? And it's going to be difficult to talk about the substantive thing because we're focusing on all this other extra stuff.
Right.
I
So,
mean, do y'all
well,
think that it would have been really a problem if they had just been like, let's just choose her anyway?
They would have
I think it would have been a
crucified her.
distraction, and I think they could have destroyed that girl, like
Yeah.
just emotionally, right? Just imagine the hateful things that would have been written about her and just put everywhere, you know.
Would there is there any conceivable world that she still could have been, you know, cast as the sponsor in her situation and not been like, you know, thrown under the bus.
It would have to be a different cultural norms. We're looking at traditional U.S. culture. I think there were certain gender norms and certain expectations then.
Yep. The
That's
Bible
why
Belt.
right in the South. I mean, there's some expectations. Listen, I agree with what Christian said. It would have been distraction. It would have been an opportunity for someone who didn't want this to get out there
Right.
to sabotage it because now there is these other questions that would be like, oh, that's true. What if we find out this was a biracial baby? Well, then now what? Or what if we find out that the baby was, the daddy works for NAACP? I mean, like you said, we don't know. It goes down some wells that we don't is irrelevant to, getting treated equally
Right.
or fairly.
So you think that what the NAACP did was a good call?
They mitigated risk.
Sorry, say it again.
They mitigated risk. If you have two
Yes.
people, one has less baggage, the other one has more baggage. And I'm not sure, too, what did the parents of this 15-year-old have to say in all this? They may have been part of the reason why they said no. Maybe the girl said no as well. I'm not sure other pieces to the puzzle, but if I had two people to choose and I had Rosa Parks here, clearly that would be less distraction in my impression from what I know so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah, I mean,
But
unfortunately, like when you're looking at like a court case, or especially a public court case, it isn't simply about like, oh, are we right? Right? Like, are we on the side of right? It's, can we win, right, in court, and can we win like in the court of public opinion, right?
Right.
Because we're trying to do something, and if we think we can't win, then why drag her through all of this just to make a point? Even though it might not be the most just thing, right? Like, if you can't win, you can't win, whether it's just or not.
I agree. And they would have assassinated her character probably if I
Yes.
could imagine this was now more of a moral. They would have brought this into a moral issue. I guarantee, like you said, Nathan, or Christian, we would not be dealing with the actual issues. I think that's what would happen. Just like in this conversation now, we're trying to figure out who the dad is.
They
That is
yeah.
really irrelevant.
I mean, it's irrelevant, right? But that's what exactly would have happened. They would have crucified her on stuff that had nothing to do with it to stay as far as the topic as they could. And like, I mean, and especially if it was an adult, I mean, they, gosh, they would, we her parents thought about this situation carefully, trust me, and they said no. They probably said no. I don't want her to go into the court to get crucified, and because I don't want her to be a public image to be crucified, because that would have been bad. I mean, she's 15 in high school still, and you're gonna put her on the stage, and with all those things, man.
I just kind of feel like it's not that I don't understand where y'all's coming from, uh, but I just feel like we cater so much to the emotions of humans rather than actual logic. We are emotional beings, but we're supposed to be also logical, right? And unfortunately, I just feel like for me, the story just brings up all of the issues that humans have just in general. Like, how is it not possible to see, I guess if people were more logical and emotional, like the civil rights movement wouldn't have had to exist at all, right? Because it takes a lack of logic to assume that the color of a person's skin reduces their intelligence and or value. So I think that requires a lack of intelligence, or the um I don't know, like it requires you to intentionally push away knowledge that you actually, wisdom or understanding that you actually have. Like, that's how I feel about it. And I feel like the fact that they couldn't bring Claudette to the forefront because of basically what you're saying is the emotional response that people would have, like you were saying, it become they would it's already a moral situation, then it just become a more moral situation where these people feel like they have the right to crucify her, and then use that to say, oh, these people aren't serious about their freedoms and stuff like that. Like I feel like that is a uh, I feel like that is a, like for me the bigger issue is that we have to cater to these people's purely emotional side, without really kind of like balancing that.
Mm.
That's kind of what I'm getting from it, and then, I don't know, I could be wrong, but it's kind of sad, you know.
Yeah,
I
it's not ideal, but I you think about even the way we react to even someone asking for money, right? Of us, if they're perceived as, not responsible, or maybe, you know, if they look like, you know, they maybe were on drugs, or whatever we perceive as something negative about their character, we're less likely to want to help them, right? Just as a society. I'm not saying personally you and you, but you can kind of envision that gut reaction to even looking at how we view welfare, right? The reason a lot of people are against so much of the welfare system is because they view those people as like lazy and just getting pregnant and like all this kind of negative stuff that clouds the issue of these people need help, right? But because we view them as kind of, I don't know, other or irresponsible or immoral, it's easier than to dismiss their needs.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. People like to separate themselves, and they it's us and them. And if there's something that we can say that they did to justify why we can help or not help, or if they deserve help or whatever, I think that's real unfortunate. But going back, Nate, to what you were saying, the goal for, I can imagine, those who would have tried to push this, their goal is to win, like Christian said. So winning is more important than, or squashing this and keeping the peace, quote unquote, is more important than, you know, allowing this to be some type of um, beginning of something much bigger. I think if people in the South at the time who were not black, I think if they could have chose to go about this in a way that was less painful, I bet they would have. I bet they would have loved to keep things just the way they were. So I think there's not a lot of motivation for them to want to put anyone up front. So if there's a reason or any type of crack in the story that they can distract us with, I could imagine that would be
Yeah.
the case. Just because there's just people
But
trying
then
to.
again, why didn't they do that with Martin Luther King?
I mean, I think after the fact, I think there was a lot of assassination of his character, but I think to that point it was a little bit too late.
mm.
Right?
Well,
Given
Because he wasn't
that's
like
given
he was.
that's the assumption, right? So we assumed that they didn't have this information before, um, until now, right? But I mean, if they had this information on Claudette, I'm pretty sure that they would have had that, and I'm pretty sure that when people saw Martin Luther King, or women saw Martin Luther King getting all popular and stuff, you know how they do. People want a piece of the pie and stuff like that,
Yeah,
coming forward, be like, "Well, I got his child."
yeah,
I bet you that's something that happened,
yeah,
and they hushed that up real quick.
of
yeah. But
course.
I
But
think I think it's again back to the male versus
I mean,
female
also
thing, right?
that
Like
too.
just the culture of, unfortunately, like Christian church. I don't think it's even specifically a black Christian thing, but just how we treat ministers, right? That a lot of times we just kind of will overlook and just let them get away with things because they are man of God, they are on this pedestal, they do preach, they
Man of
do,
God.
right? Like they perform this needed function,
Yeah,
so
It's not
we will
needed.
just ignore
I
and
mean,
downplay like this other stuff,
what he
right?
did was
Because that's not
needed.
important.
There were other black No, they chose him. So there were other black. There were other black. What do you call those people? What do you call those people?
Activists,
Yeah.
Activists. Thank you.
preachers.
There are other black activists. They just chose him, probably because maybe he was eloquent, and yeah, maybe he was a pastor or something like that. But then they chose the amount of effort that they're going to put into hiding his past, so that they can make it seem, you know,
I
they. I
think
mean, it's the same thing that they could have done the same thing to Claudette. They could have,
Well,
if they
I don't
wanted
know
to
that.
hide her past, they
I
could have done
don't.
that.
So here's the thing. Okay. So the differences between like Martin Luther King and Claudette. Okay, I would say this: when Martin Luther King started getting up on his public soapbox, I'll say it that way. Okay, um, I don't think.
I'm pretty sure
It,
a lot of people were going to
yeah, I know.
disagree with that.
I was thinking that
I
same
know
thing.
what
But
I know
okay,
what you meant.
yeah, his stage.
I
Okay,
know what you meant.
his stage when he's getting in the public eye, the public stage. A lot of the things that um we know now about him was I don't think it was actually known. Okay,
No, that's my point. The point is, I'm pretty sure
but I
that
don't
they
think.
would have
But when I
known.
say that, I don't. When I say that it wasn't known, I don't think he was actually doing that because I think it's kind of like what Chris was saying. When people start getting known, you know, the opportunities come up. You know,
Oh, no, that's what I said, and I said he got
so
known, and so I'm pretty
but
sure
she
baby's
was
mamas was
pregnant
coming out of the
before.
woodwork, being like, "Look, I got his child,"
Yeah, but she was
Yeah,
pregnant before, so they
could have
and
been.
they were pregnant before. Oh, we don't know actually.
But I
Yeah,
say,
we don't
but
know.
wait, were you saying he had people pregnant before we knew who Martin Luther King was?
Sorry, say that again.
Are you saying Martin Luther King had people pregnant before we knew who he was?
Before he became a big thing, yeah. Listen. That's what people are saying.
I thought it
I
was
don't know.
during.
That's what's been said.
I thought it
It
was
could have been.
Oh,
throughout.
I
it
mean,
could.
yeah, I mean, for me, the difference between him and Claudette would be Claudette was a person that this was kind of put upon. It could be used as a tool to advance something. Martin Luther King was someone out there speaking and like charismatically gathering an audience and a following,
Right.
right? So like she was someone that they had to choose to go and pick and like fight for.
Yes.
He was out there gathering followers and
Well,
people came along with him as
let
he was
me
kind of
let me interrupt you
building
there.
something,
The
right?
the theory is that the NAACP needed like a sponsor and a face for what they were planning on doing, right? So the sponsor was Rosa Parks, and then the face was Martin Luther King. So when it comes to like change management, right? So you have a project that you're trying to roll out, right? Um, and you need somebody to like to have initiated this process, right? Which would have been Rosa Parks. Like the idea is that this is what started it off. So this is what they were going. This was like their springboard, Rosa Parks and what she did, right? It was just one event that she did, but it was their springboard that they used to push their agenda, right? And then after that, they needed somebody to be the face of their event, their agenda, which is where Martin Luther King came in. So, as far as these two people are concerned, the NAACP used both of them. They just used them in different ways. Like they wanted, not saying that it was a bad thing that they did,
Mm-hmm.
not at all. I'm just saying this is what the positions. This is the theory of what the positions were. They wanted to do this. They were looking for people. They were looking for how to do it. When Claudette did it, maybe someone else did it before, but when Claudette did it, they went to see if she would be interested. Then they found out her history and they were like, no. And then Rosa Parks did it a few. There is a difference also between Claudette and Rosa Parks, I guess, because both of them apparently were very involved in the civil rights movement. Um, Apparently, but Rosa Parks maybe more so, and she already had a connection maybe with the NAACP. If I'm not mistaken, I could be
Yeah,
wrong
she was a
on that.
secretary for like her local chapter, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, anyways, like that was a that might have been one of the like the bigger differences, I suppose. But in any case, like that's the theory of how this all came to be. They were both being used. They both accepted themselves to be used by for this movement. Excuse
You
me.
look deep in thought, Steve. What are you thinking?
Well, I don't know if I like you saying they were used. I think they collaborated. That's probably a better word. Or they participated. They got invited, and then they collaborated. To use sounds like they're being exploited against their will, or like they didn't have a choice in the matter.
Well, they weren't okay. Yeah, I understand, but the reason why I use that verbiage is to explain the difference. Because Chris was talking about how Martin Luther King, was kind of up there preaching and stuff like that, and then Rosa Parks was the side kind of this side note or something to that effect. And I was just saying, no, they were both on the same level. They were both not on the same level, but they were both chosen for the same project, right? And they both accepted, right? So they were both chosen for the same project. They just had different positions, is basically what I was saying. So it's not about Martin Luther King being more important. If Martin Luther King wouldn't have been as effective, is the theory, if they hadn't pushed so hard on the Rosa Parks story. Like that was like I said, that was their springboard, right? And then the Rosa Parks story wouldn't have gotten as much traction as it did if it hadn't have been for um, Martin Luther King and what he was doing, right? So they went hand in hand. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, it's not that I'm not saying that they're pawns. I was just saying they're in the same position, different positions, but for the same, not one was more important than the other.
Yeah, we gotta watch our words, like me and my soapbox. So
But I don't oppose the word used, but I do understand what Steve was talking about exploited. I don't think that, I, at least we don't know, but it doesn't seem like they were exploited. They wanted to be there, especially here in Martin Luther King's Jr.'s, uh, speeches. Like, you know, you can't BS that. So, for the most part, so
Right. Yeah, and my point with that was more around like Rosa Parks's involvement was more passive, where he was Martin Luther King was more active in that his speaking was impressing upon people in a way that her action didn't. Does that make sense? I'm not sure if that's making any sense. Like,
well, he did do more active uh,
like
engagement
yeah,
publicly.
he had a
From
personal
what we know.
following because of his speaking, right? Because of his personality,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like people were following him personally, like
Mm-hmm.
following him, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to Rosa Parks didn't have like the same type of a following,
No, but she had the
right?
effect. So she
Right, yeah.
was because of what she did. You had all those sit-ins,
Oh, for
in the
sure.
cafes and stuff like that. So it's not going to be you're not going to be able to quantify it in the same level. You can't say he had all of these. Or Martin Luther King had all these followings because he was a charismatic preacher. She might not have been a charismatic preacher, but she did one simple gesture, which was very what do you call it? Which is very, for lack of a better word, powerful. That motivated other people to be like, yeah, man, look, we're gonna stand up for ourselves, sort of thing. So
Yeah, yeah. My point really is just that his charismatic nature is why he was excused for his other behaviors. Really, right? The whole
quite
point was,
possibly.
hey, him being a charismatic preacher is
Hmm.
why they were like, this other stuff we'll let it slide because he's a charismatic preacher. And I think we do
Yeah,
that with a
maybe.
lot of charismatic preachers, not just him.
Yeah, that's something we talk about in project, or sorry, yeah, in transformation, enterprise business transformation. Like when you get people who are charismatic, and they feel like that's all they need to rely on in order to get things done, and it is not. So yeah, but it is something that people look past a lot of stuff if you're charismatic. So it's probably true too. We don't know.
Got it.
What you think is Steve?
I don't know anything else to add. I think that kind
uh,
of sums it up. I think clearly what actually happened was effective, and I think we've
do you
already
think it could have been
established.
more effective? Do you think? Because
Uh,
listen, I'm gonna tell y'all this is probably not something that y'all agree with, but I feel um, uh, like the civil rights movement just kind of like fizzled out, right? Um, to the point where black people now in America are just kind of like sitting there. So we had the whole Black Lives Movement thing, ugh, Black Lives Matter movement, you know. But I feel like it's not. I don't feel like we're as united as they were back then, you know. So like, do you think it could have been a little bit more effective or ran a little bit longer than after Martin Luther King Jr. passed?
So I would say this. So is it being more effective or us being more united? I don't think. I think we're looking at African Americans being united through a specific lens. And back then, when you look at that, yeah, it's gonna look like we was all united. But I think it's more like how it is now. Where we
Dude, they
agree on
had
a
marches.
yeah, we've had marches. But we agree on certain things. When you look at history and you're looking through a specific lens, okay, you're gonna see the marches and you're gonna see all these people gathered, and your mind's gonna say all the African Americans are there. Okay, but that's not exactly true. Just like, I mean, look at what happened now. Like you said, Black Lives Matter. Okay, all the African Americans you ever known was not out there marching. They might have agreed with
It
it.
ain't about all the African. Like they literally had a march called the Million Man March. When is
Yep,
the last time you heard of a march with black folks like that
in the
or
'90s.
parade? Let me tell you. So you all know what's his name, Dave Chappelle, right? So
Hmm.
he did this stand up on Netflix that it was a heated topic, but
Hmm.
for other reasons, for other reasons. But in that he was talking about like the LGBT community,
Hmm.
right? And he was like, how did we know? I mean, um, he's like, had I known that all it took to get the attention of these people was to put on some booty tight shorts and something like that and march in the street, we would have done it. But black people should have like a parade or something like that. We got a month, and what do we do with it? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, there's no, I don't feel like there's any cooperation or anything like that. There's no, we lost it after the activists kind of passed away or whatever.
I don't. I think. I
Yeah,
think.
I think there's a lot of things going on,
Yeah.
right? One I think is the more you you stand out, the more difficult it is to assimilate and fit in, right? And so to the degree that people want to be a part of the American culture, right, and be a part of it, right, that means less of me constantly telling you how we're different in a way, right? I think also now versus then, I think just from a social economic perspective, I think there's a lot wider of a span of who's African American and where they are in society and who and what they identify with. Um, Whether it be less church going, which a lot of that was helped kind of undergird that, right? But like that's less, right? Institutions are breaking down just overall. So I think there's more individualism, just period, in the country, and I think having this united African American identity is more difficult now because there's so many kind of sub pockets and subcultures and ways that we align that are in addition to that. I don't know.
I
I
agree.
mean, that could be. I don't
uh,
know.
well, I want to go back to Nate and challenge something. So the reason I say effective, because I think I am viewing it through a certain lens of what was the goal. I think the goal was for them to get rid of the Jim Crow laws. I think that's what was defining them, forcing them to sit in the back of a bus, or it affected them on voting. It affected
Hmm.
a number of things that it was a lifestyle and it was institutional. And so I think a lot of that was accomplished. And so once that was accomplished, I think we need to reassess, okay, so what is the goal now? And you compare that to Black Lives Matter. I'm not exactly sure what the goal was of some of that. I think they used a trendy term that it seems obvious, but I'm not sure if what the words say is really connected to how they would measure success because um, I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
curious and I'm skeptical.
Yeah, I
That
think a lot of it now the goal is like to change attitudes and like hearts,
Right.
right? But like a lot of the overt stuff was like resolved, right? But now it's all this stuff that's either it's no one doing it, but it's just ingrained in like the way things are built, or it's
yeah,
just
what they call
people's
systematic.
like unknown biases that are affecting things, right? And so to fight against those things is so much more, I think, nebulous than hey, strike down these 5 laws, right? Or these policies, and then we get that done versus hey man, people are subconsciously treating us differently right because of this stuff, let's
Right.
fix it, right? And it's like
No, well, there is like subconscious issues, but there are also still things that are very well ingrained. Like they were. I was reading about the kind of computer algorithm that unintentionally, quote unquote, unintentionally targets Black people in the DSHS, Department of Social and Health Services,
mm-hmm.
sort of thing. Those type of things, they can be regulated. They're not being regulated. It's a I think it's really a question of getting together, going in there and being like, look, we need to fix these things. Otherwise, the problem is going to continuously or persist. It's going to persist.
Yeah.
And the reason why I asked if it could have been more effective, Steve, is not because, yes, you're right. Their objective was to get rid of the Jim Crow laws and to sign whatever that document that JFK had was supposed to be signing. I'm very bad with history, so um, he was supposed to be signing some document to get rid of these types of laws, and they got it. But then the question is, yeah, so they reached that goal. Could it have been a further reaching goal? Could they have gone farther? And if not the NAACP, which still exists today, so I feel like they still should have some sort of mission. Um, should they be going? Should they have gone further? Or should somebody be going further? Because I agree with you, Steve. I don't know what the BLM movement is really doing. I vaguely remember how it started. I know it is the idea of getting. I mean, it's in the name. Black lives, stop killing our Black people because Black lives matter, sort of thing. But I feel like it hasn't been as effective maybe as the civil rights movement and maybe it's because they don't have a goal or a mission or they're not united. I don't
Well,
know,
yeah,
but I
I
just
mean,
feel like
it's also not like an official organization. It's not so much a movement as it is kind of it's almost more of a rallying cry. Like there's no like official like Black Lives Matter movement. So if someone's like, yeah, Black Lives Matter did this, that doesn't even make any sense because it's not a thing, right? There's
it
some people
could be
some
though.
people
Wow.
identify with it, but because it's more something to help people remember something versus this is a set of like ideologies and goals and like things that we have, right? Which is why it's hard to compare because it's not even
No,
a
it's not on
thing,
the same level. I
right?
agree, but
It's
it could be. Is the point? That's my question. Couldn't it have been more effective, more efficient? Could it have
Well,
had a farther reaching vision? Because they had to have known getting rid of these Jim Crow laws was, I mean, if they saw what happened when they abolished slavery, right? They abolished slavery, but they still treated you like then you got to know that should have you thinking, okay, well, just getting rid of laws isn't going to be enough, right? So that might have been the first step. That's what I would have considered. I'd be like, this is a step process. So that might have been the first step. And then I'd be like, then we got to start infiltrating organizations, governments, stuff like that, putting people in there who are going to actually make a difference. I don't see any of that happening. I mean, I I I guess I could do it myself, but I'm not like politically inclined. Plus, I don't live in the U.S. anymore, so like I came somewhere where black people are appreciated. So, but anyways, like that's how I feel about it. I felt like that for a very, very long time. So
I think we may have a topic for another day. I
Yeah.
like it. I like it. I like it. Well, folks, we've discussed our friend Claudette Colvin today. Hope people learn something. They can go research some more about her story, what she was into, and just remember that, just because, we mentioned these 5 names during Black History Month, that wasn't everybody.
no,
That wasn't the whole story. It wasn't everything, right? A lot was going on. A lot is going on. And so it's up to us to kind of make sure we're aware, we're learning, and kind of keeping the flame
yeah,
going. So
and feel free to correct us because we don't have all the we don't have
y'all know the name of
100%
the podcast.
right.
This is unofficial opinions mostly.
Right.
We'll give a
So,
little tidbit of facts here and there, but yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, folks. We'll close this out. Anything you guys want to promote that you guys are up to? I know, Nate, you were talking about your reaction videos. Where
Yeah.
can folks find those things out? They want to see
Yeah,
them.
because YouTube is supposed to be like setting up this new name, I suppose, but I haven't gotten it yet, unless I'm just not understanding. So you can't really you can look for so at Drakeon DRAKEON Malkeor Malkior. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I just came up with a name.
This guy
So
and his
yeah,
names.
it's one of my gaming names. But you can find me there on YouTube. So it's only on YouTube, making reaction videos. I just posted one so far to see how the process goes, and I figured it out, and they accepted it. So or they didn't, they didn't deny it. So it's posted up there. I really like it. So feel free to watch it, and then comment, like, and subscribe, and comment. So I'll be putting up more now that I know how the process works. So yeah.
Sweet, sweet. How about you, Steve? Anything you want to put out into the ether?
Not much. I think these types of conversations need to be continual. I think this is what stirs and inspires young folks who may see something that needs to be changed, and then something can build from there, that we all can kind of participate. We can all kind of join in. And I think that's maybe the takeaway here is we looked at a story of something of a group of people who they saw something that needed to be changed, and they tried to be strategic in how they went about that change. And I guess that left us with some questions of maybe why did they go
Yeah,
this route versus that route? So it's very interesting.
absolutely. How about you, Tim?
Um, it's a lot of like what Steve said. This conversation needs to continue. And kind of what we was saying, where we're not going to be able to talk about everybody, and the fact that Black History is just a month is kind of absurd, but whatever, because it's really American history, you know.
Yeah,
So
it's not even just America. It's a month, but like a month of what?
yeah, but it's
Like
a month that
what are we doing?
we can't
You know,
we can't cover everything in a month. So
that's true. But I mean, like, who was having a Black History Month? Like who's talking about
it's
this?
it's
Like,
it's up to us. It's up
yep.
to us. It's up to what are we doing? Like
right,
I don't do anything personally. So
no, I'm not
hey,
going out there.
Listen,
starts with
we
us.
did this
With
podcast,
with
Yeah,
okay, and
I
we
was gonna
gonna do
say,
some
hey,
more.
what we're doing is trying to focus on that this month. So hey,
Yeah.
we're doing our part. We're done.
that
Check it off the
is
list.
okay. If they don't
I
get
have
mad, if
assuaged
people
my
don't get
guilt
mad
for the
about my
year.
soapbox,
Like we did a podcast about it. So what are you guys mad about? Get off our back.
no. But
Oh my goodness. What about you, Chris? Oh, go ahead, Tim.
oh, I was gonna say, if people want to ask any more questions, or they want to bring up any more topics, I would say go ahead. They should go ahead and hit into the comments. We should
Oh yeah, yeah.
respond.
Yep. So we will
We will
respond. We should
respond.
respond. Look
Yeah.
at him.
Absolutely. Yes, we will. We do read them. Yeah, I've got nothing to promote on my side other than just kind of this podcast. We'll see as the year goes on if any other ventures pop up. But yeah, for right now, just, if you want to find me, come to our socials.
Yeah.
Remember, we are unofficially opinionated, so like and subscribe on YouTube. We are on there. These are all posted there. If you're the podcasting type, make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. We're on kind of all the major apps, so Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, all that fun stuff. Anchor.fm / unofficially opinionated. It has all our links there. Go find us. We're also on all the socials, so we're not super active on there, but if you want to contact us, you can DM us, message us, comment on there wherever you want to find us. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, Instagram. We're trying to do more reels these days, and also TikTok. So for the youths, we are there as well. So come find us. And we hope to see you on there. Again, thanks, Nate, for all your hard work doing the video editing and audio editing. That is his baby. He does that. So
yes,
if it's
I
great,
do.
it's all him.
I'm
If
trying
it's
to get
not
better
great,
and better.
If it's not great, it's a computer issue. So don't blame Nate.
Exactly.
Also, shout out to a guy named Jaden Moore, my son, who does our music. So we're gonna try to put some more of that on the reels as well coming up this year. So stay tuned for that. But he's out there producing that for us. And yeah, thanks again to y'all for
And our
joining us today.
thumbnails made by the one and only Tim,
our graphic designer.
Yes.
Tyrus.
Brr.
One day I'm gonna get that horn working so I can use that as needed. But
Yeah.
until then. All right, folks. Thanks for joining us today. It's been fun, and we'll catch you next time.
All right.
Bye, Tim.
Bye, Tim.